Hi everyone. Thanks for that great intro. It's great to be here at the Game Changer Summit. Would love to share some thoughts about Web3 and some corporate applications today, and give an intro on myself and the Brooker Group, which is the company that I am currently working for in terms of venture capital and partnerships. So a bit about the Brooker Group. We are a listed company based in Thailand, out of Southeast Asia, and have been investing for the last 20 to 30 years in alternative assets. The big thing that has happened over the last 5, 6 years, obviously, is the rise of blockchain. And as a financial advisory company and investment company, we look at how these can be applied to corporate applications. Today, we're going to talk about two in particular, which I'm sure you've heard about, but may want to know a bit more about, is the metaverse and NFTs, or non-fungible tokens. So, kind of going into the last kind of 3 or 4 years, this blockchain technology has really taken off and has been adopted by many companies that you're familiar with. Walmart, Disney, some consumer brands, IBM, really across all industries. There are a lot of companies that are looking to use blockchain, either through the back end or the front end. So back end is really kind of helping out with logistics and streamlining a lot of processes. I think Walmart has done this very successfully for their food supply chains. Whereas other companies such as Disney and of course formerly Facebook, now Meta, are doing a lot of things with the metaverse and NFTs, or non-fungible tokens. So we can really see that there's a lot of things going on across the big corporates. These are all already announced initiatives, and as you can see, some of them are back in 2018, while some of them are very recently, call it this year. If we look at the metaverse in particular, I'm sure a lot of you have really heard about what it is. But the definition that we like to kind of think about is that it's the conversion of our physical and digital lives. And it's really an area that a lot of us, especially the younger generation, are familiar with the digital world. They've been growing up with their smartphones, and with social media and a lot of these things that are really digital. Of course, we also live in the physical, so the metaverse is a great way to kind of put both of them together, right? And one of the main things that we see is a movement from what was historically Web 2 and to now Web 3. And Web 3 is really just an evolution of Web 2. It allows users to really be their own owners within the digital world. They'll have their own say, their own identity, and their own IP, and they can use that how they want. And there are a lot of companies that are have been basically being metaverse that allow users to do this and really express themselves. And most recently, obviously, is Meta, which was formerly Facebook, rebranding itself to really be a forefront of this in the future. So the opportunity is vast. Depends on how you want to really define the metaverse and the whole industry. But we like to kind of think about it in a couple ways. One is obviously, if we look at the whole gaming and esports area, which the metaverse naturally lends itself to, that's about a $2 trillion market cap space right now, right? And that's very much within metaverse. I think everyone would agree that that's really the opportunity that a lot of people in the space, especially corporates, are looking to capture. But if you look a bit more kind of broadly into other areas as well that metaverse touches, this is something along the lines of 15 trillion, right? And this is a lot of the Web 2. This includes the market capitalizations of giants such as Apple, such as Google, and Microsoft. And these companies are all, as we saw in the last couple of slides, looking into how to use blockchain and Web 3. So this is really a big opportunity, and one that we see as going to be the forefront for the next, call it, at least 5 to 10 years. And what's driving this, right? Why is this so interesting, and where are what has kind of caused a lot of these big companies to look into Web 3 and blockchain is really the underlying aspect of our physical lives, right? So we're spending more hours on digital activities, about a third of our lives now, 8 hours a day, is spent watching either TV, playing games, or on social media. And this is an average across, kind of everyone in the US. If you look at people in the younger generations, they're spending even more time, right? Call it 10, sometimes even 11 hours a day, uh, engaged in digital activities at a certain point. And of course, we know as people spend more time, then they will spend more in terms of what they're doing. So this is really a key underlying driver of the whole space, right? And that's why a lot of these companies are really looking at the new generation and seeing how they're spending their time. It's online, it's in the digital world, so they're going to address that. They're going to um, spend more and invest more into these capabilities. And a lot of companies themselves that are, again, this is the ecosystem of Web3, are playing into the metaverse, right? So there are a lot of different ways that companies can come into the metaverse, right? Companies such as Sotheby's, which has traditionally been a physical auction house, has really uh, seen how digital is a good supplement, and in some ways maybe a replacement in the future as more people are digital. Are betting big on metaverse and setting up their own auction houses, if you will. There are other ways that that companies are looking to be in the metaverse. They're advertising themselves on the digital world. Again, if there are more eyeballs in the digital world, then that will hopefully translate for them into the physical world, or even remain in the digital world, as long as the consumers are aware of their brand, aware of their products and services, and will be using those, just because they're around in the metaverse. So that's a bit on the metaverse. We'll move on to non-fungible tokens. These are NFTs. You probably heard of them before, but it's a digital token on a blockchain that basically signals that you have ownership, or have created a certain asset, right? And this is important because on the digital in the digital space, there is a lot of concerns about security. We know that a lot, that there's a lot of cybersecurity, which blockchain itself can help solve. That's another application we won't delve into today, but that's another application of blockchain. But NFT itself allows you to really record ownership on a public basis, so that um, many people will agree and can assign ownership to your product. So one of the great, or some of the great properties about them, is that they're programmable and composable as well, which means, as we'll see, that you can edit them almost on the fly, not necessarily underlying asset, but maybe the capabilities of them. And composability means that they can be used. Not everything has to be changed at once. Things can be changed at different times. So we'll expand on that, right? So right now, obviously, there's fungible and non-fungible tokens, and assets. Fungible basically allows you to interchange them for some value, and it's established, and people will understand what the value is. Non-fungible, as we see, can be a lot of things that people value differently, right? So art, um, marriage proposal, baseball cards, right? These are traditionally physical things that people have different values for. The digital aspect allows them to bring it into the digital world, but also take advantage of being digital, which means that as kind of unit cost goes up, the number produced will go down, and the marginal cost of digital goods tends to go to zero. Which we've seen this in technology before, on other assets and other products, where the more you produce of something, the marginal cost will go down, and this is uniquely um, to the NFTs, and also quite a good advantage of their capabilities. So this helps provide opportunities for creators, right? If, say, you were an artist back in 1400s or 1500s, and you created a piece of art that you put basically on sale, outside your house, but it didn't sell until much later, maybe before after you were dead, so probably in 50 or 100 years. An NFT, the digital aspect of it, can actually make it so that you would potentially see the benefits of those at an earlier time, right? So say someone looked at your art, thought it was a good piece of art, not necessarily for themselves, but maybe for their friend or a new market that they thought would be interesting, they could technically go and buy that piece of art, and embedded could be what we call a smart contract, which is one of the advantages of being digital. Is there's some digital aspect of it which you can kind of assign to the piece of art, and that will allow you basically to extract royalties on an automatic basis. So you're the artist, you sell your piece of art to someone who sees value in it, maybe not for themselves, but maybe for other people, and basically from every transaction after, you can basically earn your fair share of the art that you created, from these transactions. Even though this might not be, you might not find the ultimate you know owner immediately. You can find it in a couple of different permutations. So that's just one of the aspects. Smart contracts and the digital nature allow for a ton of other things as well, which is why a lot of corporates are looking to use NFTs, and a lot of them are really delving deeper into how they could potentially adopt these and incorporate them into their business models. So the final thing I want to touch upon is kind of where we are, and the blockchain and Web3 is quite early in its stage, right? There's NFTs and digital assets where we're right in the beginning of kind of collectibles and art, but there's going to be a lot more going in. Obviously, metaverse and culture is kind of where we're moving in towards, and within the next again 5 to 8 years now, 2030, there will be a lot more opportunities that we think a lot of corporates will be adopting, and Brooker Group, as an advisor and investor in this space, would love to partake in and help other companies. So I look forward to sharing more and discussing more on how we can um, help educate other people about this at Wharton and at other communities, and look forward to hearing your questions and anything else. So thank you.